Hello there, Thunderers, and welcome to this new episode of Why You're Bad. Today's topic is a bit tricky to practice because it requires knowledge and experience to truly master. However, when paired with sound cues, which I talked about in my first video, it will boost your efficiency on the battlefield tremendously. I'll leave a link in the description. Why You're Bad number 2. You don't know the maps. As I just mentioned, this topic is hard to teach because it revolves around your knowledge of each map, of the layers, of each and every little street, bush or rock to take cover behind. The only way to find nice spots is to play over and over again on the different maps of War Thunder to be comfortable when driving your tank. It's a long and tedious process, but do not fear, my friends. I have some tips in my sleeve to help you to better understand each map and to become more efficient on each of them. My concept is fairly simple. You have to imagine that every single map of War Thunder, Ground Forces map obviously, are nothing but a single skeleton which Gaijin dressed up with different clothes, or landscapes if you prefer. After playing War Thunder for quite a while, I noticed that in the beginning of every game, players tend to follow very strict paths, never straying from them, or very rarely, which I simply call routes, almost always numbered 3. These routes can be applied to every single map of the game. Take note that there are exceptions, of course, like Karelia or Eastern Europe, but it will make this video far too long to talk about them here. If you only follow one of these routes until you are comfortable enough to try another, I guarantee you that you will improve instantly. Furthermore, as I said, I recommend you to use what you learned in my previous video about sound to truly become a route master, but allow me to demonstrate. So here I am on Abandoned Factory in my trusty AMX 56 Leclerc with this magnificent trompe-la-mort camouflage, literally cheat death in French, and this is the C route. Is the most direct path to go to Cap C and still have some angles to defend yourself. This route is what I call the main route because it's from this route that you can choose to go on a variation, which we'll see a bit later in this video. Then, once I arrive to the cap zone, I can either push to the enemy spawn or choose to go to another cap to help my team, or maybe a fight will happen here and I will play my whole game just around that cap. This is what I suggest you to practice. Choose a route and stick to it until you know it by heart, and so you will be able to focus on the enemy rather than where you're going. Of course, when you get better, you can alter the routes to your desire. So we're again on Abandoned Factory and I'm showing right now a variation of the C route. This is a custom game, so don't pay attention to bots. When you're more comfortable with a route, take a variation. A variation is basically following the route, but with a slight adjustment, like so. The first variation of Route C, which we'll call Route CB, will allow me to defend C, or to watch for players going straight to the middle of the open ground. The second variation, which you are seeing right now, is Route CC, and it will allow me to flank the C cap to get enemies from the side or to watch for flankers. Even then, I could alter Route CC by following the railroad on the left to flank even more and be face to face with potential deep flankers. To help you visualize, here's the map with the routes I just showed you. And of course, what works for a side works for the other. For a live example in game, I am again in my Leclerc with the gameplay you saw in the introduction. We are on Normandy, and even if the layout of the map is not as straightforward as Abandoned Factory, the route system still applies. Here I am on the main B route, which is the perfect path to try catch enemies that are capping B on the beach. Its variations would be A to go towards the church to watch the street in front of A, or B to go on the beach, try to fling B. Also, remember that the idea of routes works for every map and every cap point. You just have to stick to the one you chose before you try another. There you have it, my friends. This is the method I used to learn the maps, and I assure you that it helped quite a lot when I was still new to the game. However, remember that even if my concept is here to simplify your understanding of each map, you will still have to play the game at least regularly for you to learn and remember what you discovered thanks to the routes. Be also advised that I plan to do a whole series about each map of the game, showing the routes I discovered and their variations. But since I'm not a full-time video maker, it might take a while before I find the time to make the series or even start it. Only time will tell. Anyway, I hope you liked this video, I hope you learned something from it, and I'll see you in the next one.